When using unittest.mock.patch, why is autospec not true by default? When you patch a function using mock, you have the option to specify autospec as true. If you set autospec equals true, then the mock would be created with a spec from the object being replaced. All attributes of the mock will also have the spec of the corresponding attribute of the object being replaced. Methods and functions being mocked will have their arguments checked and will raise a type error if they are called with the wrong signature. This URL. I'm wondering why this isn't the default behavior? Surely we would almost always want to catch passing incorrect parameters to any function we patch.
The only clear way to explain this is to actually quote the documentation on the downside of using autospecing and why you should be careful when using it. This isn't without caveats and limitations, however, which is why it is not the default behavior. In order to know what attributes are available on the spec object, autospec has to introspect, access attributes, to spec. As you traverse attributes on the mock, a corresponding traversal of the original object is happening under the hood. If any of your spec'd objects have properties or descriptors that can trigger code execution, then you may not be able to use autospec. On the other hand, it is much better to design your objects so that introspection is safe. 4. A more serious problem is that it is common for instance attributes to be created in the init method and not to exist on the class at all. Autospec can't know about any dynamically created attributes and restricts the API to visible attributes. I think the key takeaway here is to note this line. Autospec can't know about any dynamically created attributes and restricts the API to visible attributes. So, to help being more explicit with an example of where autospecing breaks, this example taken from the documentation shows this. As you can see, autospecing has no idea that there is an attribute being created when creating your something object. There is nothing wrong with assigning a value to your instance attribute. Observe the below functional example. So, I'm just saying for my test case I want to make sure that the sum_external_thing method does not affect the behavior of my unittest, so I'm just assigning my instance attribute the mock_sum_external_thing.return_value equals there be dragons.
Answering my own question many years later. Another reason is speed. Depending on how complex your object is, it can be that using autospec can slow your test down significantly. I found this particularly when patching Django models.
The action of autospecing itself can execute code, for example via the invocation of descriptors. Therefore, this is a problematic feature to enable by default and is opt-in only.